You've probably been told that compound interest is one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. Maybe you even started investing because of that. And then you checked your account after a year or two and the number barely moved. That's not a coincidence. That's the part nobody explains. Compound interest works. The math is correct. The problem is that nobody told you what it actually requires to work in a way you can feel. And without that context, most people either lose patience, pull their money out, or assume they're doing something wrong. They're not doing something wrong. They just started with a broken expectation. So let's fix that. Compound interest is not complicated. It's earnings on top of earnings. That's it. You put money somewhere. It earns a return. That return gets added to your total. Next period, you earn a return on the new, slightly larger total. Over and over. The reason it's considered powerful is that this process accelerates over time. The longer it runs, the faster your money grows. Not because the rate changes, but because the base keeps getting bigger. That's the mechanical version. Not magic, just math that builds on itself. Now here's where most people's experience breaks from the story they were sold. You have $500 invested. The market gives you a 7% return that year. At the end of the year, you have $535. You made $35. That's compound interest working exactly as advertised. It's also $35. That's not going to change your life. That's not even going to change your week. And if you were expecting to feel something, you won't. This is not a failure of compound interest. This is a scale problem. There are three variables that determine how much compounding does for you: principal, rate of return, and time. Every outcome you'll ever see from compound interest is a product of those three things. If any one of them is too small or too short, the result will be small too, even if the math is working perfectly. Start with principal. Principal is the money you put in. The bigger your starting amount, and the more you add over time, the bigger every percentage gain becomes in real dollars. 7% of $500 is $35. 7% of $50,000 is $3,500. Same rate, same time, completely different outcome. This is why compounding feels invisible to people who are early in the process. They're working with small numbers. The percentage is the same, but the dollar output is too small to register. Most people start investing with whatever they can spare. $50 a month. $100 a month. That's not wrong. Starting is better than not starting. But if you're 5 years in, contributing $100 a month at 7%, you'll have somewhere around $7,000 to $8,000 total. That's real money, but the compounding effect inside that number is maybe a few $100s above what you put in yourself. You did most of the work with your contributions, not the interest. The compounding is there, but it's quiet. It's building. It hasn't taken over yet. Now look at the rate. This is where a lot of people are losing before the game even starts. Most Americans keep the majority of their money in a savings account. The national average interest rate on savings accounts has sat well below 1% for most of the past decade. Some accounts pay 0.01%. At that rate, $10,000 earns $1 a year. $1. Compounding at that rate is not doing anything meaningful. It's technically happening, but it's functionally invisible. Even high-yield savings accounts, which many people now use, typically land between 4% and 5%, and those rates move with the economy. They're not locked in. They're not guaranteed. And they're still lower than the long-term average of the stock market. If you want compounding to actually compound in a way you'll eventually feel, the rate matters enormously. A 1% return on $10,000 after 30 years gives you about $13,500. A 7% return on that same $10,000 gives you about $76,000. Same principle, same time. The rate is the difference between a small gain and a life-changing number. This doesn't mean you need to take reckless risks to chase high returns. It means you need to understand that where your money sits determines what compounding can actually do. Savings accounts are for short-term money, emergency funds, things you'll need in the next 1 to 3 years. Investment accounts. Index funds, retirement accounts, are where compound interest actually has room to work, because the return rates are in a range where the math starts to matter. Compounding is not a straight line, it's a curve, and the shape of that curve is the thing nobody shows you in the inspirational posts. For the first several years, the curve is almost flat. You're investing, you're earning returns, and the results look modest. If you chart it out, years 1 through 7 look like barely anything is happening. The numbers are growing, but slowly, incrementally, nothing that feels like momentum. Then something shifts. Around year 10, the base has grown large enough that the annual return starts producing a noticeably larger dollar amount. By year 15, the gap between what you put in and what you have starts to widen faster. By year 20, the growth each year might be more than you contribute in the same year. By year 30, the compounding is doing more of the work than you are. That's the bend in the curve. That's where compound interest starts to feel like what people describe. But most people never get there. They check their accounts after 2 or 3 years. The number doesn't look impressive. They get frustrated. They withdraw it for something else. Or they just stop adding to it. And they never find out what would have happened at year 15 or year 25. The cruelest part of compound interest is that the best part happens at the end. The early years are the foundation, and they look like nothing. You can't skip the early years. There's no shortcut to the bend in the curve. You have to go through the flat part to reach it. Let's make this concrete. Take 2 people. Both invest at 7% annually. Person A starts at 25 and invests $200 a month until they're 65. Person B starts at 35 and also invests $200 a month until 65. Person A invested for 10 extra years. At 65, Person A has roughly $525,000. Person B has roughly $243,000. Same monthly amount, same rate. The 10 years of difference in start time more than doubled the outcome. That's not because the first 10 years produced so much. It's because those 10 years gave everything else more time to compound on top of them. This is why time is the one variable you cannot buy back. You can increase your principal by saving more. You can improve your rate by choosing better investment vehicles. But you cannot recover lost time. Every year you wait is a year of compounding that doesn't happen. So what's the actual mistake here? The mistake isn't compound interest. The formula works. It's always worked. The mistake is the way compound interest gets explained to people, as a magic trick that makes money appear, rather than as a mathematical process that requires specific inputs to produce meaningful outputs. When someone tells a 22-year-old that compound interest will make them rich, they're not lying. But they're leaving out the part where it takes 30 to 40 years, requires a meaningful rate of return, and only starts to feel powerful after a long period of looking like it isn't doing much. That's not a small detail to leave out. That's the whole story. People give up because their expectations were set wrong. They were sold the destination without being told about the road. Here's what to actually take from this. If you're early in the process and the results look small, that's normal. That's not a sign that you're doing it wrong. The flat part of the curve is supposed to look flat. What you're building during those years isn't visible yet, but it's what the later years run on. If your money is sitting in a low-interest savings account, compounding is doing almost nothing for you. That's fine for emergency funds. That's not fine for money you won't need for 10 or 20 years. If your contributions are small, start where you are, but understand that the dollar output will be proportional. Small inputs produce small outputs. The goal over time is to increase the principal, save more, contribute more, let the base grow, because the rate is working on whatever base you give it. And if you're waiting for compounding to feel like something in year 2 or year 3, you'll be waiting a long time. The feeling comes much later. What comes early is just the decision to stay in. Compound interest isn't broken. Your account isn't broken. The timeline is just longer than you were told. The inputs matter more than you were shown, and the results come later than almost anyone prepares you for. Now you know what it actually takes. That changes how you look at the whole thing.